Kayvon Thibodeaux to the New York Giants, Sam, not the Jets. He had been mocked to the Jets forever. A lot of people thought the Jets wanted to go pass rush, and a lot of people thought the Giants absolutely wanted to go tackle. So strategically, the Giants said, all 3 tackles are still on the board. We could still get one, but Thibodeaux, the guy that, as of a few months ago, was the guy at number 1 overall. He slowly got overtaken by, we think, Aiden Hutchinson, eventually by Trayvon Walker. Yeah. This could actually be the best edge defender in the draft. We'll see. But Kayvon Thibodeaux, a nice pick for the Giants.
Yeah, it's difficult to parse exactly what happened with Thibodeaux. I've heard, I think it's cousin Doug Kyde.
Yeah.
I think it was him that was writing that or talking about how this might just be where the NFL thought Thibodeaux belonged all along, right? And the public perception was different. Like the draft community or people generally were the ones that had Thibodeaux as the number 1 overall pick for a while. But the NFL never really saw him that way, right? The things you're hearing about his flaws that only came out the closer to the draft we came, those were reservations that the NFL teams had all along. And all that's happened is those 2 things have come closer together and we've met where they're supposed to be all along. But either way, the idea that this is a guy that people thought was going to go number 1 overall for a long time and then was right there in a battle of, well, if Hutchinson goes number 1, does Thibodeaux go 2? Does he go to the Lions? For the Giants to get a player of that caliber, that was even in that conversation, whether or not it was sort of real or manufactured, I think is a real coup for them. Like, this is a legit player. And when you turn on the tape, sure, there are flaws. He's not a perfect prospect. If he was in this draft of all others,
he'd be going higher. Yeah.
He'd be gone number 1. But you turn on the tape and his plus points are obvious. They're immediate, right? His burst, that get off the line. He's so twitchy. He brings those athletic pass rushing traits that typically tend to translate, right? And he's got production. He had a pass rushing grade of 91.5 last year. He had 47 pressures. This is a guy who got after the quarterback. And I think for the Giants, they've been looking for somebody that can do that for a while, having been like, a famous strength of this team in years past, right? Great Giants teams always had these loaded pass rushes. Haven't had one for a while. This is a great idea or a great attempt at getting it back.
Yeah, last year they brought in Azeez Ojulari. He's going to be the one pairing with Kayvon Thibodeaux. You got Quincy Roche there, O'Shane Zimenez. It's not like the Giants were going to be, they were going to be in the edge market no matter what.
Right.
And again, it leaves open the possibility to fill other needs later. Not that that's your ultimate goal here in the draft, but I think the Giants should be thrilled with the Thibodeaux pick. I think the reason why he shouldn't have been the number 1 overall pick, though, is he was a bit of a projection. Like, he was good in 2020. We always, maybe unfairly, compare these top edges to the Boses and the Myles Garretts and the Chase Youngs. But it's
not unfair, though. Like, that's the standard,
yeah,
right?
Those are the guys that are wall-to-wall, slam dunk top 3 picks no matter what.
If you're going to take those guys, if you're going to take an edge rusher in the top 5, that's what you're shooting for, right? Whether or not you would be happy if he ends up just being a good player, that's a different conversation. But if you're taking a guy in the top 5, everybody in that room, at minimum, is expecting this guy to become a Joey Bosa or a Nick Bosa, a consistent Pro Bowler that can legitimately make an impact in his defense and raise the level of everybody around him. If he doesn't have that, even within his range of outcomes, then he probably doesn't belong in the top 5, like, regardless of what kind of draft it is. So it's harsh because, like, that's a really lofty standard to be aiming for. But that's why you're going in the top 5. Like, you have to have that, otherwise you don't belong here.
Yeah, I think Thibodeaux has that all-around potential. I mean, people are questioning if he plays hard and all these things, whether those were smoke screens or overblown, whatever.
Did you see that in his tape? Because I didn't.
No, man. I miscast him by comparing him to Trent Cole. But when I remember Trent Cole, I remember him jacking up blockers, playing low pads, and just winning in the run game and in the pass game as a pass rusher. And that's what I felt when I was watching Thibodeaux. Jacking up pullers, too, in the run. Like, he wants to get dirty in the run game. He wants to rush the passer. We saw his projection we saw him get better in his last year with that 90-plus pass rush grade, as you said. So there's a lot to like about Thibodeaux.
No, I agree. I think that part of it, look, every year there seems to be at least one player who gets given that the dirty stuff, he doesn't love the game. He's not playing hard. His attitude's a question, like, where's the desire? Every year you seem to we got to.
But on draft night, you know what it is?
Trevor Lawrence got that, for God's sake, for a while. When we answered a question, it was like, look, if I'm great, fantastic, but if I'm not, it won't be the end of the world. Like, I can go do something else. everyone's like, whoa.
Big red flag.
Right.
Big red flag.
Immediate. Hang on, we got some problems now. I know we thought you were the next Peyton Manning.
Once you get to draft night, though, then it's like, oh, maybe the Giants were putting that out.
But also,
but seriously, like the Giants sitting there at 5, like, man, I want him, or I want Hutchinson to fall. So you doctored the arm length for Hutchinson. You put out some stuff on Thibodeaux, whatever.
Like, it's one thing if you can see it on the tape, right? Where you can legitimately see plays. You're like, oh, look, that's weak. Now, look, Jordan Davis has some of those plays. Now, the dude played at 370 pounds, so he's probably tired at sometimes. But I didn't see that in Thibodeaux's tape. I think it was manufactured. And if it's an off-field thing, wow, look, the guy's got his own cryptocurrency. It's brand Thibodeaux. Is that going to be a problem? Patrick Mahomes is out here talking about owning the Royals and doing endless commercials for Foot Locker and,
and look at him. He collapsed in the second half of the AFC Championship.
Jake from State Farm and everything else, right? Who's out here being like, well, dude, is Patrick Mahomes really taking this quarterback thing seriously enough? Like, it's crap, right? It's manufactured. So the Thibodeaux negatives, I think, were made up. And the positives are obvious for everyone to see. He's a legit pass rusher.
Kayvon Thibodeaux has a chance to be immediately probably the best pass rusher on the Giants, and I think they're thrilled to get him at 5.